Taliban says that Pakistan is their second home, their friend. So I had said that the rise of the Taliban could be the beginning of the eventual end of Pakistan. I had said that in a previous episode. So in response to that, this gentleman or person is saying that the Taliban says that Pakistan is their second home, their friend. So let me repeat: there are no friendships in geopolitics. The Taliban is a creature that the Pakistanis created. The ISI created the Taliban as an expendable tool in their long term game, in their long term agenda, in their long term objective of destroying India. Pakistan, the Pakistan army, the ISI has only one obsession. It is an all encompassing, all consuming obsession. That obsession is India. India is their big prize. They want to conquer India one day and fly their flag from the Red Fort. That is their objective. The problem is not Kashmir. Kashmir is not the real problem. Even if India hands over Kashmir to Pakistan, we will never do that. If hypothetically somebody like Manmohan Singh, for example, were to hand over Kashmir to the Pakistanis will not suddenly become friendly with India. They will want more and more and more because the objective is to destroy India. As long as India is a sovereign country, the Pakistanis feel threatened. The Pakistan army feels threatened. And the fact that they portray India as the enemy is what gives legitimacy to the Pakistan army. It is what keeps them in power. So they have created this tool called the Taliban. It is made up of these poor Afghan Pashtun people who are treated as cannon fodder. They are all expendable. It doesn't matter how many Afghans die, the Pakistanis don't care. The Pakistanis want to fight India using the plan was to fight India, to bleed India with the Taliban. So the objective to create the Taliban was to create an Islamist organization which will eventually target India. And the plan was to use Afghanistan for strategic depth. So they wanted to fight India to the last Afghan. The Afghans were to be the cannon fodder. Now, what happened is that they recruited the Taliban from all these madrasas in which all these refugees were studying, Afghan refugees. What happened was that they ended up creating a Pashtun Taliban. It is definitely an Islamic Taliban, but it is also a Pashtun Taliban. It is almost exclusively Pashtun, and it has given rise to Pashtun nationalism. So the Taliban has not exactly gone in the direction the Pakistan ISI establishment wanted them to go. They wanted the Taliban to have only an Islamic identity. But the Taliban has acquired a very strong Pashtun identity. And the Pashtun identity is very strongly anti Punjab. See, there's a big, long history behind this, a 1,000-year history. The Pashtuns were the first to be converted to Islam in India, right? In Gandhar, in northern India. So they converted to Islam and then they started launching raids into India. The Gauris, the Ghaznavis, and they bled India. They perpetrated genocide in India, cultural genocide. They massacred millions of Indians, which includes the Punjabis. The Punjabis bore the brunt to a great extent of these Pashtun invasions after the Pashtuns were converted. Now, eventually, the Punjabis, many of them also got converted to Islam, but this blood enmity, this ancient enmity remained. The Pashtuns hate the Punjabis. The Punjabis hate the Pashtuns. And during Maharaja Ranjit Singh's time, they gave it back to the Pashtuns. Maharaja Ranjit Singh was able to conquer large parts of Pashtun territory. And the border of his empire is today the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. And that is why there is a significant Pashtun area within Pakistan. Now, the Pakistan army is a Punjabi army. So they also have this ancient enmity with the Pashtuns, even though both sides are Muslims today. It goes beyond religion. It is a blood enmity. It's like the Italian vendetta, which goes on for generation after generation. So the Pakistanis, the Pakistan army, the Punjab army created this Taliban force to bleed India, but they created a Pashtun force. And the Pashtuns hate the Punjabis. They hate the Pakistanis. So whatever the Taliban says doesn't matter. Words are cheap. If you want to understand the world, ignore words. See actions. only see actions. Words, I mean, politicians say all kinds of words. They make all kinds of promises. Once they come to power, do they keep any promise? Words don't matter. Words are cheap. Ignore words, focus on the actions. Now, the coming months, coming years will show us what the Taliban truly feel about Pakistan, and whether the rise of the Taliban is going to eventually end up being the end of the Punjab Pakistan army. It could very well be. The Taliban do not see Pakistan as a friend. They may say today that Pakistan is their second home and their friend, but there are no friendships in geopolitics, and there is a very old blood vendetta between the Punjabis and the Pashtuns. So it is not going to go in the way the ISI had envisioned. That is for sure.